you know everybody out there watching is part of the greatest minority ever? You know what that is? It's the living. That's right. When you think about the amount of people that are currently alive today versus those who have been before us, that's a minority. So, why did I bring that up? Well, why do I bring anything up? These are all observations and things that I consider wisdom as you start thinking about things as you're getting older and from life's experiences, drawing information and trying to make sense of the world and life. And the reason I brought it up is because it tells you that life is a gift and every day is a gift. That every morning when you get up, wake up, you think, this is another day to experience my life, which I'm only here for a given amount of time. You know, there are people here long before I arrived who came and went, and now here's my time. This is my lifetime. And when I'm gone, I'm not here anymore, others will be carried on. So here's a segment of time called your lifetime. Maybe that kind of puts it in perspective for people. It does for me. That it gives you an appreciation for just the fact that you're here. Because there's so many that were here, and now they're gone. We're the minority, so living. So, you know, it gives you an appreciation for life to realize that, and probably look at it in a different aspect then, as more of, during this lifetime, I'm going to enjoy as much as I can. This is what I refer to as the rack from the torture chamber. I refer to it as that because it's really tough. It's for leg lifts. I got it suspended from the ceiling And again, I'm 5'6.5", so this is up at 5'7" height. And the reason for that is I do not like sit-ups. I don't know anyone who does. But leg lifts are a little more dimensional and you get the same effect, if not better. So I created this. I've got, well, this is like pipe wrap foam, just so you have some padding there. And the idea, of course, leg lifts are relatively simple. You mount this thing like this, and then you do leg lifts. There too. Anyways, the purpose for that is for off-season training is because when I'm in the backyard doing the 6'7" high bar, to mount the bar, I have to pull up and lift my legs up and go forward and over the top of the bar just to mount it. And so to stay in shape in the off season, I use this. And when I do, I find it not only strengthens your stomach muscles, but your chest and your arms are indicators of where you're getting the exercise value from, because the next day it hurts. So you can feel every muscle that it's toning. But I do this 5 sets every 2 or 3 minutes, 25 times. So I'm doing 125 leg lifts per session. And then I suffer the next 2 days. But that's the way this works, and that's what that is. This is the rack. The rack. It makes a neat noise too when you're doing it. It sounds like something you'd see or hear in a dungeon. Yeah. So here's some more philosophy. Things like the house that you live in is actually your own being, your own body. Houses can be bought and sold and burnt down and rebuilt, and you could live outside in a tent, live in an apartment, live in a mobile home. I mean, wherever your dwelling is important, of course, but as far as priorities go, the real house that you live in is your body. And as long as you feel good and you feel strong and you feel fit, life is going to be a lot more fun to live. Well, this is a lot of fun. I started doing this last summer. I'm gonna fall. I've got a sidewalk on my property that's, I don't know how many feet long it is, but I walk on my stilts, which are 3 feet high, up and down the sidewalk, 20 times with a 3-minute rest period in each time. And what it amounts to is, when I measured the length of the sidewalk and the distance I'm walking 20 times back and forth, it's 5,400 feet. So it's just over a mile walking on these. And yeah, it takes a little over an hour and a half to do it. But it's a lot of fun. I just now fell, probably because I got a cord on me right now for the microphone and stuff. But usually I can walk up and down the sidewalk, and keep my balance. This I consider a Mikenastics thing because I like to do unusual stuff, as you probably can tell. And stilts are something that used to be popular. You don't see that much of these anymore. But it's good for your balance, you know. It helps with your balance quite a lot. And by golly, I think I'm going to try walking around one more time with these things, because I haven't done it since last summer and I miss them.
I miss doing it. Yeah. Sometimes you can stand still if you get your balance just right. I suppose you could even dance with them. I don't know. Don't have any music at hand, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's just plain fun. Quite I think, an old-fashioned, not sport, but fun thing to do, like the hula hoop and that sort of thing. That I think just kind of lost its appeal for now. But I think someday it'll make a comeback.
purpose of this film is to speak to those that are what I consider adults, not young adults, just adults that, you know, you could be 90 years old. I consider you an adult. I don't consider you elderly because you're able to physically do a lot more than you give yourself credit for. I think a lot of society just believes that after your teenage years are done, or even once you hit 30, you physical ability to do a lot of things is gone. It deteriorates. Well, it doesn't. That's kind of a mindset, and it's very self-destructive, because what happens then, if you believe that sort of thing, is you sit in the recliner and you watch TV with a remote control in your hand, and then you do start to physically dwindle.
On today's program, we have a guest that, well, he's a reasonably remarkable person. It depends who you ask, you know. Some people would say he's eccentric. There's others who would say that he's like 50 going on 15. And some would say he's downright nutty, goofy, silly, whatever. He does some unusual things, mostly pertaining to similar to gymnastic activities, but there's other sports involved too. He's referred to what he had founded as Mikenastics, because it's a combination of gymnastics type activities, only he changed the name to Mike instead of gymnastics to suit himself, because he kind of made up his own rules and has his own type of equipment, which isn't standard equipment. And that's kind of what makes him remarkable, because at the age of 50, going on 15 as he puts it, He's able to do a lot of things that most of us can at his age. He does handstands on high bars and throws basketballs, I think 70 feet, and walks on stilts, takes marathon bicycle rides, does all sorts of things. What I have here is an email that he sends to viewers that contact him through email after seeing his, 4 or 5 videos he's had out so far in the last 5 years. And this is the information that I'm going to be going by in this interview to ask him questions about things that he does and why he does it and how he does it. Another thing that's really important that you can do throughout the day, it's really important how you carry yourself. Do you remember in grammar school when your teacher would always say, stop slouching and sit up straight? Well, you know, they've been doing that for years, and the reason for that is it's really important, especially when your body's growing, that you grow with good posture by sitting properly and standing, carrying yourself properly. As an adult, it's as important, if not even more important, because if you're depressed or you're tired, or it's just naturally more comfortable or easier for you to walk in positions with your shoulders drooped, looking down at the ground and kind of bent over, the world's going to see you as a very different person from as if you walk with your head erect, as if you've got, you know, self-esteem and your shoulders up and your back straight. It's good for your health, it's good for your posture. You can maintain your height, you don't deteriorate as quickly as you would if you start slouching. Body language, it'll say an awful lot about yourself, just the way you physically appear. If you
just carry yourself well, and you sit straight, stand straight, and look straight ahead and not downward and sad.
I've been performing this stuff for 7 years, and because I perform it year-round, it's not just 2 months per year. I mean, this is 365 days, well, not every day, but so considering how many times I do this stuff year-round for 7 years, I only injured myself twice. The first time was like 3 years ago, I think, on the high bar. I was coming down on a dismount, and where I had the bottom of the mat, the ground was a little unlevel, so this leg would hit before this one, so I hurt this knee. Got swollen and stuff, nothing real bad, but it was swollen for, I don't know, a week. So that was the first one. Second one was, lasted 3 months. I was on crutches for 3 months because last summer I bought a trampoline, a big one, 14-foot one. And, well, I'll tell you about that when we go out in the backyard. We're gonna be showing the culprit, if you will, at that time. But the reason I keep my crutches, I had one at work, one pair at work and one at home, because I was riding my bicycle back and forth to work. I didn't want to carry crutches on my bike, so I'd crutch my way to the door, get my bicycle, ride to work, grab this set of crutches that were at work, crutch around all day, and then that's why there's 2 pairs here anyways. And then I had to wear this boot. Yeah, looks like a Frankenstein thing. But I leave it out here in my gym just as a reminder of safety, you know, because 3 months on crutches and all the pain that went with it and everything, you got to be safety conscious when you do all this stuff. because the results, you know, if you're not, are not good. What I do in what I consider the off season, for me, a backyard gymnast, at best in the backyard in Minnesota from mid-April to mid-September are the times that I can spend out in the backyard performing high bar and parallel bars and all that, high dive. But from mid-September to mid-April in the wintertime, backyard gymnast is inside the house doing things, and some of the stuff I do is just training for the events I perform out in the backyard. Here's what I do to stay in shape during my off season. This is my gymnasium here. It's about 12 feet by 14 feet wide, and it's got an 8-foot ceiling, actually 7.5 feet, because the platform I'm standing on, I had spent $550 making this. It's I guess it's a legitimate platform. It's got foam blocks, 187 of them underneath this plywood platform. In fact, I have a foam block here to show you. You gotta watch out for mice though. They'll bite your fingers. Okay, it's a little dirty, but 187 of these cubes. They're 3" by 3" by 4" high, and they're placed throughout the base of this plywood. The plywood's like 1/2 inch thick, and then on top of that is, I think it's 5/8 chipboard, and then on top of that we have just a thin piece of carpet pad right here, and this 1/2 inch thick matting with border that you can get at, I don't know, hardware stores or department stores. But so everything combined between this, the mat, the plywood, chipboard, carpet padding is about 6 inches high. So my 8-foot ceiling now is 7.5 feet. Well, the reason I told you about that is because in the winter time, one of the things that I do in the backyard is a high dive. I'm 5'6.5", and I dive over a 5'7" bar. So I can dive just barely over my own height. And I do that in the house in the winter. I got a mini tramp here. See, this is about 7 inches high. So I guess actually I'm only diving over 5 feet, not 5'7". Anyways, I place this in my hallway like that, and these two stands, this is kind of makeshift, but it works for what I do. I'll do this. And the bar that I dive over goes on top of these clothespins. The reason I use clothespins is, well, all it has to do is hold the bar. But the safety element is, this is aluminum, and this is just clothespin, so if you miss, you don't get hurt. Everything just collapses. But if you look down the hallway there, that's where I start from. That's about, I don't know, 23 feet or so. In addition, for safety purposes, I have these mats, which these are nothing more than, I don't know, like cushions that you'd find in a fold-a-bed or hide-a-bed. But these, I lay down on the other side, right here. And a third one. There. But basically, I start 23 feet down the hallway, run down the hall, jump on the 7-foot mini tramp, up and over we go, landing on 3 mats, in addition to the 4-inch foam blocks and padding and all this other stuff. Because you can imagine diving 5'7" and then flipping over and landing on your hands and rolling out on your back. You need that, otherwise it's just gonna knock the wind out of you. So that's the indoor high dive, the setup I have for that.
some enlarged pictures I have in the corner of my living room, which on the left shows me doing a handstand in 1970. I was 15 years old on a clothesline at home. And beside it, I should update this to 2003, but is a handstand on what I now use for the same high bar, as I call it, and in 2002. So it's just kind of neat because it shows you that people can regain their abilities from long ago and far away, you know, if you practice enough towards that. Above the handstand pictures is on the left, when I was 16, 1971, the car that I'm working on with my friend there with the fuzzy head, hair, or face. Actually, I just tacked that thing over his face because it's a friend that I haven't contacted yet to ask if he wanted to be in this video. So I don't have his permission to film his picture, so I just did that for that reason. Anyways, me and my friend working on a 1963 Ford Falcon that I had in 1971, and to the right is a 1964 Ford Falcon. So, I guess in 32 years I moved up a year now, didn't I? Wow, isn't that nice? Now, some people say that I'm stuck in the past, which is very true, but to them I would like to say that after 32 years, I went up a year. I bought a 64 Falcon instead of the 63 I had. So I'm getting there. I'm moving up.
This is something that I just created here a few months ago. I refer to it as the low bar, and nowadays it's a popular catchphrase to say we're gonna raise the bar. Well, I decided to lower it, and the reason for this is out in the backyard during my backyard season for gymnastics, I've got a bar identical to this one, only it's 6'7" high, and that's what I do the handstands on. And I thought, well, in the winter time, I'm not going to be out there practicing that. So I got the same version, only a foot high in here. Because I'm almost 5'7" and I got a 7'5" high space here, I made it a foot high so I could practice doing handstands on here, and my feet just about touch the ceiling. Sometimes when I'm doing balancing, I can just feel it, you know. So that's all the room I got in here for that, and I got this fastened down to the plywood here. But I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and again, it's what I do in the off season to keep my balance, practice my balance for when I go out and do the 6'7" high bar.